Bam.
Just a bit too early on the switch over, I think.
Bam.
Just a bit
I think
too
we're
early
good.
on the switch over, I think.
Bam.
Jay and everybody else rating
Welcome.
with
Yeah.
Jay.
Welcome.
And everybody else.
Welcome.
Welcome. You're supposed to do all this stuff.
Yeah, but you were
Omar.
talking. I was listening if everyone could hear or like everything.
No worries. We take care of that part of it. You take care. You take care of our guests and of our topics and of us.
Just everything, and the game, and the speed run, and
You take care exactly. You end the discussion. You take care of everything. You are in control, my friend. Look. No hands.
Look, no
So-
hands.
welcome. I'm Omar oomzer, and below me is
Is Dr. Random Mole. And right next to me, somewhere there, I don't know, is
Ymir Politopoulos.
and today
and
today we'll be playing with the past like an aircraft marshal is parking JA's airplane.
oof,
that means smoothly. We're gonna be smoothly playing with the past,
but also very quickly.
Yes.
but also very quickly
Yeah,
because
also-
yeah,
and
exactly.
efficiently, apparently.
Because what are we playing?
We are playing Civilization 6 as Babylon.
Babylon. That's very smooth, That's very smooth.
Very smooth.
You still are so close to the mic, my friend. You're so hot. That's what we say.
I know,
You
what
still
can I
are so
say?
close to the mic. Your mic is so hot, Aris.
I'm running the hot mic.
Yes, you're running a very hot mic, which is fine.
So let's
an
quickly hop into this game. I mean,
what are you doing?
I mean, setting up our game took like half an hour last time, so let's not do that.
we're
What?
doing that for sure. Oh, we are
what? Of
so
course we're
doing that.
this.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Continents, yes.
I didn't catch where Jay was flying to today. Where were you flying to, Jay? Let us know. So, we are playing as Hammurabi.
Of course. Babylon.
Hey, Hammurabi is missing an M. Oh, no, there's an extra
No,
M, I
he has
mean.
an extra M.
There's also your faces in the way. So the people
Oh,
on
yeah,
stream
true.
can't see that, but
Yeah, but we're not gonna touch too much of OBS because Omar's
I don't
got
dare
a
to.
got a couple of strings that he put between OBS and Discord, and he
He
maybe
duct taped it very well.
yes, he duct taped it, and then he put some leaves over it so people wouldn't really see it, and then we did a couple of prayers to the internet gods and the Faroe Islands. Oh, you are. Wow, the Faroe Islands. I was just reading about the Faroe Islands that they have the very first underwater rotunda there.
What?
Oh wow.
Underwater what?
A rotunda, like a rond-point.
Oh, a
rotunda.
rotonde, yeah. I was like, a rotonde,
Rotunda, round point.
Roundabout.
Roundabout. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. But rotunda,
That's,
I think, is also the right
That
word. I
sounds
don't
like a
know.
plant, honestly.
I'm not sure
Just-
if it's something you can see from an airplane though.
No, because it's underwater.
You could see it from a U-boat. Or submarine. More commonly known as.
That's boat. Anyway, cool. Roundabout. Yes, thanks, Jay. It is. But I think rotunda could also work. Otherwise, there's a. I want you to go to another island. You have to go to more islands. I don't know if you're still taking requests, Jay, but if you could go to Saba, that'd be epic. I want to see you land on the the airport of Saba. Can you do that?
Please.
The Faroe Islands, apparently, I'm checking them out on Google Earth. They seem to be they seem to have like 6 different picture patches that makes it look like it has extremely awkward terrain. But I mean, what the fuck is wrong with Google Earth and the Faroe Islands?
Just
What are they
different
hiding?
satellite images, probably.
Yeah, but why on the Faroe Islands? It's just such a tiny place.
I think I can fit it in. Very nice, very nice. Okay, if you're gonna hit Seba, it's that's definitely my most adventurous. Not that I landed the plane myself, but my most adventurous airplane landing ever is, or actually takeoff is the most adventurous when it comes to Seba, because it is the what do you call it, the lane. My God, I've lost all my English this night. the takeoff is just so short that in fact your plane will just literally run over the cliff, drop, and then pick up again. So
Oh no.
it should be a fun
Yeah,
one.
it happens on St. Martin as well. You got all the pictures from St. Martin where like the people are on the beach and like literally the
Yeah, no,
747s are
no.
landing.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. That's also a special one. Yeah, I've been on that beach too, and but Seba is there's no 747 landing there ever. It's one of the
Well,
twin
it's
alter.
landing. It's just not taking off again then, if it
No, no,
lands.
no, no, no. The 747 you cannot land it on Seba. It's a strip that is just
Well, I mean,
so small that if you try to land the 747 there, well, okay. Here's a challenge. Here's a challenge, Day.
Jay.
If you can land a 747 on Seba, I don't know what I will do to you, but I will do everything that you would want me to do to you or for you, because that is
That is
yeah,
something.
Yeah, it's not
it
a
is
landing either. Yeah,
no exactly
the landing
exactly.
is everything you can walk away from. So I mean,
Yeah, but you will not walk away from that landing,
no.
guaranteed, guaranteed. Unless it's impossible. I don't think anybody, not even people with like the best pilot in the world would be able to land a 747 or even any jet airplane. Really, I think of bigger basic passenger size on that little airstrip. But yeah, okay. More leaders in there.
Yeah.
Okay, let me pick the next one. I
So
want to
so
pick
we
the
have
next
we
one.
have the map size on large. That's what we played on last time, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And we want to delete some, like 2 maybe.
Let's
Now
play
we're
with against 8 total, right?
yeah. Now it's on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
I think now it's on 10.
10. Yeah, so 8 seems fine.
Yeah.
Okay, Angus, hit it.
Mm. All right, let's go for last time did we have the Aztec in there? I don't think we did, right?
No, we didn't. But we've
All right.
played against the Aztec.
I know, but I like him so much.
The Aztec are in there now.
Yeah.
Okay, Agus, your pick.
Um. Let me think. Something funky. Something we haven't done. Something a little bit out there. Let's do.
Have we played against Simon Bolivar?
No. No.
No, I don't think we have.
That's my
But-
pick
but-
then. But
Sure. Okay, let's get another pick.
I haven't gotten a pick. Let's do Nubia. We haven't done Nubia. Right? We didn't do Nubia last time.
No, we didn't do it. No, yeah,
Let's do
absolutely.
Nubia.
so Angus, you're up again.
Okay, well, I mean, if it's about stuff that we haven't played against, then I'm gonna get. So, we haven't played against Eleanor of Aquitaine.
Which one?
Yeah, either one of them. So let's go for
The French or
let's-
the English? Yeah.
Let's
I
go
li-
for the English.
All right, let's go for the English. Sure.
Um,
Yeah, I can see, by the way, Jay, why you would like the Faroe Islands to break up your transatlantic trip.
any other
Yeah, it's,
other people, Aris?
Let's go for something funky as well. Let's do.
no, let's go.
Sweden.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was
Which
gonna
one?
say as well.
Christina, Sweden.
Ah.
Christina, yeah.
Oh, we get a
Christina.
nice Nobel Prize thingies.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
we will get
yeah,
the science race. Very nice. So you
Mhm.
your pick, Omar. Your pick.
Oof. Yeah, Tamar.
Oh, interesting. Okay, last one for me, I guess. I get
Yeah,
to pick
sure.
twice. All right. Where is put Genghis Khan in there? Just put it in there. We
Okay.
haven't played against him. We haven't played against him.
No, true.
Where is he? Oh, there.
Yeah, he's called Chinggis here,
Ching-
right? That's
Yeah, Chinggis.
S.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
King,
What?
ancient standard, continents
Is
large,
he?
everything.
Is he called
Yeah.
Genghis?
Yes.
Because in
that's
the fandom he's called Jenkins.
Yeah, but they changed it with the one of the last updates. They like changed all the names. Now that it also became Moctezuma instead of Montezuma and stuff. See, have I done everything
It's
right?
it's interesting why where they're going for Chinggis Khan though.
I think I have everything right now. Yeah. So start game.
So if it's not clear yet, we are gonna go for a science victory.
It wasn't clear.
I
We
must
haven't
admit that
seen,
in all the playthroughs I've done with Babylon, I've only got a science victory once and a cultural victory 4 times. So
Is it?
yeah,
Okay, but we're gonna go for a science victory.
of course we are.
From the first
Yeah.
stirrings of life beneath water to the great beasts of the Stone Age, to
After
man taking his first upright steps, you have come far. Now
don't
begins
click
your
on
greatest
continue just
quest.
yet.
No.
From this
I'm not
ever-present
clicking anything. Hands are off the
civilization
keyboard
on
and the
towards
mouse.
stars. Great Hammurabi, your word is your law. You live and lead by your code, and will make sure that your empire does too. You see the world as a complex web of alliances, possibilities, and risks. Weigh the odds carefully as you build your empire to unite Mesopotamia.
That's it. You can definitely hear the
Yeah.
Sean Bean just talking into his iPhone. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sean, we need you to do some more voiceovers. I can't.
Okay.
I'm like not here. Yeah. So
I'm
what?
in the toilet right now.
We need them now.
Yeah.
So do you want to discuss the special abilities of Hammurabi before we
Yes,
start?
absolutely. What I also
Yeah,
want to
sure.
discuss is we need to get Omer a soundboard, and secondly, that soundboard does definitely needs, as Herr Professor Doctor is saying, needs calm. That it needs
Yeah,
it. It just
absolutely.
needs it. It just needs it. All right. Yes. So, I of course studied a lot of this region of the world. So let me
Me as
just
well. Yeah.
let me run you through this. So,
Enlighten me.
so one of his special features is Nidu Illucerium, and basically it has to really do with the way that he managed his stuff, right? That's really it. And as you can say, I don't know that.
But
I don't
it's
know that much
in
about
game. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So no, Aris, please take it away because everything I know about Hammurabi, I either know from the Bible or from you, and you are a more reliable source.
Yeah.
Even more reliable than Wikipedia. I mean,
So the
Well, then the
Ninu
Bible.
No, unfortunately we don't know that much. But for the Ninu Illusirum, we know from much later sources, not from Hammurabi himself necessarily. Or we know that we have the famous code of Hammurabi, but Ninu Illusirum refers to sort of the opening words or to parts or sections of Babylonian law, and generally like all sorts of Babylonian laws and orders and stuff, and contracts and whatnot. And parts of it have been found later in the library of Ashurbanipal in Nineveh, but also similar stuff have been found in Babylon, of course, as adaptation or changes upon the codes of law that existed in Babylon.
okay.
And just a quick question. Ninu Illusirum is what language is this?
I want to say it is Akkadian, probably.
Okay. And I
Um,
mean, and that is sort of on the money, right? When it comes to Babylon Akkadian.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, they did speak Akkadian for sure. Oh my god, I'm breaking
You're
apart.
breaking. I can see.
I can see. I see
Wonderful.
the doctorate just breaking apart behind him. No, just
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So it's let me. I wonder. Now I need to know, Aris. What is the? It's
Yeah, I think the primary language was Akkadian.
okay.
I'm gonna
Wiki
go
crunch.
with you.
Wiki crunch. Yes.
Oof. But in
I
game,
mean-
let's discuss what they do in game.
But yes, what do they do in game, Aris? Sorry, Omer in this case.
So in
because
game,
clearly,
this Ninu Illusirum, every time you build a specialty district, you get the lowest production cost building for free the first time. So when you build
Wow.
a holy site, you'll instantly get the shrine as well, which is
wow,
pretty powerful.
This is
Yeah.
very overpowered, I would say.
But it is like debuffed immensely by the second special thing feature they have, which is the Enuma Anu Enlil,
Mhm.
which actually means that they get 50% science per turn less, which is a lot. But they also
Yeah.
get the science completely when they have the Eureka.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is so. This to me is clearly, a civ that is for the power players, basically, for the people that have really. I mean, of course, by now, people that are still playing civ have gotten more or less to its finey, itty gritty,
Yeah.
bitty details. Because I mean, it really depends on you really knowing how to hit those eurekas every single
Yeah.
time.
But it especially gets hard at the end because all the Eurekas at the end are just boost through scientist or spy.
Yeah. Sure.
But
Yeah, okay, but I mean, clearly if you game towards that, it's not an issue, right?
yeah, sometimes you
Um,
just don't get a science very quickly, and then just suddenly you get 4 attacks in the turn because you get 4 Eurekas or something.
yeah,
It's pretty
yeah,
weird.
that is pretty weird. So Ares,
Yeah.
we can talk more about this when this happens,
I mean,
or
I
or
can
if you're
already
not broken anymore. Are you still broken?
no, no. For this, I can already say that this is a corpus that refers to Babylonian astrology. So it's like a collection of omens and texts that
So
sort of interpret like all sorts of sky phenomena or celestial phenomena, and how they should be used, how these omens should be used in correspondence to administration or the king or the state.
so is there anything within what we know of Babylonian culture
Mhm.
that would sort of not only be that thing that gives us the name for this game mechanic, but would also align itself with this game mechanic. So, like the sort of the really like this the big leaps kind of model, right? That we're gonna go for here.
Yeah. So it's a little bit weird because particularly the Enumanuel really refers to celestial stuff. I guess the analogy there is sort of with the Eureka part, like the when something big happens and it's interpreted in a way that like lets you do something. And by and large, we have associated Babylonia with science and with all sorts of, particularly in terms of land management.
Yeah,
And
with progress, really, it's
progress, like irrigation technologies, like architectural technologies and stuff like that. So it has this overall like concept of science. I think it just sounds kind of cool. I also think like because it has the name Enlil, which is the name of a god, maybe somebody was like, "Hey, that sounds really cool," and they
Let's just
used
put
that.
it in there.
Yeah, like we need to find a really cool name for this. Say this corpus of text that refers to all sorts of stuff.
yeah.
So lunar eclipses and how to interpret like earthquakes and how to interpret like solar eclipses and stuff like that. Like how do you interpret the movements of planets? And all of this is yeah, it has the astrology aspect of it, but it also has the observation aspect of it, that they had observed the concept of solar eclipses and they knew they had to interpret it somehow. And the same goes for like planets and the movement of the
Mm,
planets.
maybe this has to do. And I think one thing we've proven is that we cannot look into the heads of the civilization developers.
Yeah.
Even with the book, we can't.
Even with a book. um, um, but maybe this to do with the fact that this sort of celestial-based science
Yeah.
is, of course, an earthquake-based, basically natural events-based science is based on natural events, and you can't control it.
Yeah.
A little bit like eurekas are
Yeah.
things that is not the type of thing that I mean, in this game you can sort of control it.
That is such a meta analysis.
Yeah, man, I like meta. That's where I shine. That's
But
basically
but
the only place I shine.
I mean, when you also have the shuffle Eureka tech thingy.
Hmm.
I think that
Yeah.
with this
With
feature
this,
would be
yeah,
like
wow.
amazing. And there's also like bots where you can like hide all the Eureka, so you don't know the Eureka, and they're randomized. I want to try
Yeah.
that out because that would be amazing because you literally don't have any idea how to like play it.
Yeah, but
Wait,
that's
Oopie,
not.
why are we not doing it right now?
Because I
That
don't
sounds.
think I'm not sure if it works. As in,
Okay.
you say that it's overpowered, as in this
No,
feature,
it
but
doesn't
it's
sound. That doesn't sound overpowered. That just sounds RNG. Like maybe you hyper roll and all the Eurekas align in such a way that you actually do it, and or they don't, and then you never trigger your.
I mean, you still
Ah,
get science and stuff. You just need to build more. It's just
yeah. Yeah. All right, man, and let's get to the Saboom Kitty Doom.
Kibitu.
I know Kitty Doom, but I just want to say Kitty because somehow it seems cute. And the Palgoom when we get there. Yeah.
So yeah, let's
Okay.
go in there.
Right.
So it doesn't do the inspirations, of course.
It's bad. I was like the first. So
Yay!
that's one thing that I would want to say is, it seems to me that it would have been maybe more apt even to do this with the civics rather than with the science. Right, Aris? Or am I now to do this Eureka thing with the civics rather than with research?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, again, I think it mostly has to do with how we conceive Babylon as this city that is so much about science.
Yeah.
And so they had to do something with science.
And also the game being more about science than about civics.
Yeah, you know what I really sort of think about when I think about Babylon, I think about the Hanging Gardens, Aris.
Wow. We're not doing this.
I just think we can. Oh, we might build them. Let's
We
just.
might build them actually. Yeah, let's try to build them.
We're not allowed to build them unless Aris says that he was wrong and that in old worlds they should put it back in there.
No, no.
So
I have one influence on that game, and I will praise it. I will treasure it forever.
So question is, do we move on the first turn?
Yes, we move in the first turn because you're now.
I think that
yes.
this one is more viable.
That is absolutely. That spot is absolutely. Maybe you could even go with the warrior down south and see if.
Yeah, the warrior already moved, so that's no.
Oh, you already moved it. Okay. No, I mean, maybe it's the spot even further south is even better.
Yeah, this one, but that will take 2 turns. I think that's too much.
That's too much. But definitely we're moving on the first turn because that's
this is breaking. This is breaking my gameplay. I never move on the first turn, actually, but
I mean.
But I did just now, so.
By the way, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hello, digital people. It's so nice. It's so nice that you're here for our collected ramblings about Civilization, both the game, both the meta, and the real thing. So yeah, always fun. Always good to be among
We're the
friends.
first civilization to set foot on the continent of North America. Yes.
Wow. Oh no, we didn't. Or maybe we did.
But that's good for the error score. So I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but we started on one continent and we're basically on the borders. That's what this means, right?
It basically means that we're the only one on this continent now. But I don't know how big the continent is.
That seems like a broken game mechanic because basically whoever is on the first turn will be the first on this first continent. It's kind of weird.
No, it's like this one at the top here is North America, exactly. And this is Laurentia. So it doesn't really matter because there could be people either there or there. It's just the fact that we discovered it as someone from this continent, I think.
Yeah.
But if we look at the tech tree,
yes,
here you can see that, for example, this would only take 10 turns at a normal game, and this 20.
Oh yes.
So now it's 40.
It does mean that you're always in for a very slow start, because
especially these 3, because these 3 don't have a Eureka. Like these do, so you can just get a Eureka for them. But these you just need to churn through. As soon as though we wanted to build what did we want to build?
So in higher difficulty, if you spawn like next to the barbarian and you have like Zulu against you or something, then basically you cannot play.
But that's on every higher difficulty, regardless of this.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, with this one, you're particularly slow.
Yeah, it's kind of a slow start, but when like the Eureka start piling up, so especially like the apprenticeship one's quite powerful because you get 3 mines and you get industrial zone if you have the and then you get the workshops, which gets you the Ruhr Valley. The Ruhr Valley gets you aircraft. It like
Yeah.
so.
It's clearly one of the things that really changes up how you play a game like this. But
And that's what I like about all the new civs they added in it. It really, you kind of need to play different.
Yeah, exactly. One of the players that have, I don't know how many civilizations.
Many.
Yes, yeah. I like it. I like that they're with the core editions. They really sort of stick true with the core. We will talk much more about that in next stream when we're going to talk about the rule thirds. But then clearly those rules are more or less out of the window for the expansions, and then they start more or less all over again, or at least that's what they did in Civ 5. That's what they do in Civ 6 now. So yeah, it's an interesting process to sort of see this thing, the meta of civilization, for whatever it's worth, change.
Yeah.
So this is sad for our Eureka because we just gained a free technology. But okay, sure. So we gained writing.
Yeah, that's a bit sad indeed.
Yeah, that's the one we would get anyway if you meet another Civ. So
yeah,
it's a bit the
yeah,
waste of a goodie hat.
That is yeah, exactly. That is the biggest one. That is so easy to get, meet another Civ. If you didn't leave, I guess you'd always be incontinent. Oh, jeez.
Oh damn! Oh damn!
Oh damn! I wouldn't be content though.
Like me in Imperator Rome.
Yeah, very good stuff. So, how are you, Herr Professor Doctor? Life good? Life treating you well? Yeah, this the nice early game of
the early game of clicking and hitting next turn.
Yeah, I mean you're not in a bad spot. You're not in a bad spot at all.
This down here seems pretty a pretty nice place to be.
Yeah, exactly, and you're also locked into your barbarian village really quickly, because that's now they're not gonna spawn. They're just gonna
Thank you for the error score.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for the error score, and also it's a civic boost.
Yeah,
Peachy Queen, looking forward to teaching online next term. Ah, okay. So you haven't taught online then, John. That is, and you're looking forward to it. That is.
That's new.
Well, I mean, no, it's fine. I think it's. I'm genuinely also looking forward to teaching online rather than teaching hybrid, as we've already discussed.
No, yeah.
So no. What are you teaching online? Can I take it and fail horrible at all your courses because my computer science foo is about minus 20? Just the emergency teaching last minute. Ah, okay. Ah, yes. I think you've. Are you doing any retro gaming stuff?
Nice.
Yeah, fourth year retro games. Oh, first year programming for non-majors.
Oof.
Oh,
Whoa.
no, I like that. So yeah, okay. I'm gonna. So you play Civilization. I'm gonna nerd out with John for a little bit. So first of all, fourth year retro games. I just wish I could take this course, but. So what sort of what do you teach them? What is the programming for non-majors that you do? What are you teaching them? Any specific languages? I'm sure you do, but and which ones? I want to know. You're starting them up with like some good old languages or
The good old language.
Python. Yeah, okay, Python, yeah, for sure. it's Python.
It's Python.
It's the starting language of choice nowadays. It's
Oh, we got the Saboom.
Kitty boom.
Kitty boom, yeah.
Saboom kitty boom boom. All right. So what does the Saboom kitty boom boom do? Or are we gonna build it, Omar?
We just build it.
We just built it literally.
It gets a 10% of plus 10 combat strength and against anti-cavalry units, and a 17 plus 17 combat strength against heavy and light cavalry promotion class units. So it's pretty good against cavalry or anti-cavalry.
New teaching system built for them to use. It's effectively a rep. Oh, nice. Nothing can go wrong. And I'm sure famous last words there. Very nice.
So I'm not exactly sure what the Sabum Kibitum is. I don't think it's Babylonian. I think it's actually Assyrian. And it
Oof.
refers,
Cardinal sin.
yeah. And I think Sabum refers to is one of the words for soldier, although I'm not an Assyriologist, so don't take this for granted. But I think Sabum refers to soldiers. Kibitum, Sabum Kibitum refers to a specific kind of heavily armored.
Oh, you know what we're gonna do?
That's a wiki crutch. Yeah.
That's not only wiki crutch. This is a civilopedia crutch, I would say. So what do they say in the entry? When I did my BSc, we still got Java rather than Python.
We just got another easy tech. Come on.
All right.
What's it called again?
Boom.
Sabum Kibitum. To be fair, I had to be Assyrian dictionary from the Oriental Institute of Chicago crutched.
So I'll read the text. It says Babylonian unique ancient era melee unit with the bonuses I just said. After Hammurabi's time, Babylon was occupied by the Assyrians who reshaped Mesopotamian warfare. The Assyrian king Tiglath-Pileser III. Yeah,
Pilsner.
Pilsner. I was just thinking of beer, of course. Took up what was originally a collection of conscripted farmers and made from them an integrated army, with different units taking up different tasks, e.g., supply lines, communication, engineering, etc. Further, the Assyrian troops used iron weapons when most of their contemporaries were still using bronze. The Assyrian Sabum Kibitum shock troops would have been terrifying. What they left behind certainly was. In their monuments, Assyrian kings repeated, "I destroyed, I devastated, and burned with fire."
That's such a all over the place. Like, oh yeah, after Hammurabi's time in the 18th century BC, the Assyrians overtook Babylon in 8th century BC, 1,000 years later. So I guess technically after Hammurabi's time.
Yeah, I like how this unit is unique to Babylon, but in the text Babylon only gets mentioned once, and the rest is about Assyria.
And it's literally like 1,000 years after that time of the king that you're playing, there was this Assyrian troops that were really badass. Okay.
Okay, granted, but I mean.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Hey, but at least you finally get the Assyrians in this game, Aras.
Yeah, somehow. Somehow, some way.
Somehow. You're like, This to me though is really scraping the bottom of the barrel then when it comes to special units. It's like,
why?
Crap. Well, we want to do this Assyrian unit, but we were gonna do Hammurabi because we wanted to do you know what? Just put it in there.
No one will ever notice. Who will notice?
If you Google Sabum Kibitum, well, now you only get civilization stuff, but you don't really get much. Like, there aren't that many entries that return. Like, I don't know who thought. Maybe they had an intern that was like also an Assyriologist, and they asked him like, just quickly give us a unit from like Babylon. He's like, I don't know, Sabum Kibitum. I heard it in a class, something like that.
Always those damned interns.
Always those damn interns. I don't think Aris. I don't think your meta-analysis here is quite correct. I do not think that at for access to they had.
Hey, Simon Bolivar.
So Simon is one of those other news leaders who's like, meh.
What do you mean, nah?
He's like, no, but like his special abilities is like, meh. He's really focused on warfare, and if you're not like that kind of player, he's like, meh to play.
Oh, sure. Yeah, okay. But I think that if you are that kind of player, I think I've not played with him yet, but it seems to me that he's pretty powerful at some point.
Probably need the Civilopedia that I forgot what his things were. I just
well, basically the Janos variant of cowboys, basically of cavalry. So, or what do you mean? What other things were?
Yeah, like his features and.
So he gets Estrella de los Libertadores. So that's the star of the liberators.
Oh yeah,
That's
and what did the liberators do?
I don't think that's what. Is that what they're called? There's
Yeah.
that's a special general. I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
And
has, yeah.
You get that. No, anyway, I forgot now. But
It
that
gets
was good of it.
certain things. Yeah.
And what?
Oh,
Did we just?
the Tigris is flooding.
Oof.
That's very very Tigris appropriate.
I just thought we would lose our settler.
No,
But we didn't.
They should be trained. They should know that Tigris floods.
Yeah, but they can still die from it. I mean,
No,
We
this-
really are sort of not exactly, but sort of on the on Mesopotamia, right? Because we have Tigris over there, just ending kind of randomly, and then we also have Euphrates.
and the Great Zab.
Greater Zab, it's on the wrong place. It should be on the other side. It should be on the.
Yeah,
But
no,
anyway.
no nitpicking, no nitpicking.
Okay.
Ares, it happens in this game that places are not where they are supposed to be. For example, Corinth can be to the north.
To the north of Athens.
Yes, it can be.
Good
It can be.
Posterus.
Yeah, no, I'm just.
Audacity.
I know. I don't. How dare they? How dare they?
Jeez. I still have to go through the fuck. Anyway.
We by the way, we missed, and I just want to highlight it here. We missed a very nice quote about programming languages by John. All programming languages are awful, just in different ways. So if ever programming language becomes a civ tech,
that's the quote.
that is the quote. That is just the quote.
If ever we have to play a game with civs again or text again, and there's no quotes, we'll have that quote.
We will have this quote now. We'll have it. Just in different ways, especially with the little smiley robot face at the end of it. That's integral to this quote as well. So, with these Gran Colombia, so Gran Colombia is a very short. It's crazy that it's called an empire here, or that's basically this larger civilization, because I think this is genuinely the shortest lived polity that was ever put into a civilization game. Don't hold me to it because I don't know all of them from the top of my head.
You don't?
But
come on.
No, not I know quite a few, but not all of them. But I can hardly imagine that there's any polity in there that is that was shorter lived, because Gran Colombia lived, if I remember correctly, now I'm gonna look it up real quick because I want to get the exact words, the exact thingy right. Let me just type away on this mechanical keyboard.
Just very quietly.
Yeah, exactly. It was only 12 years, or even 11 years and a bit, because it seemed like a really good idea at the time, and the time being 1819, that after more or less, so Gran Colombia is, we know the state, the nation of Colombia nowadays, and yes, in fact named after Columbus, but that's not really the important thing. That the important thing is more that we had Simon Bolivar, who may have been the world's most successful revolutionary, and maybe the world's worst president. No, not necessarily worst, because I think we just had that one.
Yeah.
But he basically wasn't very good at keeping his stuff together. But basically, it's the Venezuela and a good chunk of Peru, as well as a good chunk of the Guianas, a good part of Central America as well, and of course Colombia, that was all liberated from the Spanish Empire, or liberated, was seceding from the Spanish Empire, the colonial empire, the Spanish. And after that, they formed. They tried to come together in this large Latin American, like the first Latin American polity, and really get around this idea of we are, we have this diverse heritage at our roots, but at the same time we're strongly Latin still. We're really this. We just don't want to be ruled anymore by, Spain, which by then had become not necessarily the weak man of Europe, because that was another another empire, but had definitely lost lost its ability to control its vast empire, particularly in this hard to control part of the world, simply because it is so both in certain parts densely populated, northern South America, but otherwise there's huge stretches that were still important for the economy of the colony, that were just very sparsely populated and difficult to traverse through. The llanos, in particularly, so the fields and plains of northern South America, and of course also the jungles of the around the Orinoco, and then the Andes. It was just, but all of it was super rich in all sorts of different resources, and still nowadays is, right. But it just, while they were super successful in kicking the Spanish out, they weren't successful in becoming this larger polity, for reasons that are mostly have to do with personalities. I think in the end, I've never really read a book about what particularly happened, but it really was. There were different political philosophies with different leaders there, that really some wanted to be like the United States, a federalist state, and others were really like, no, that's a little bit like that was also the case with the United States. Only the pendulum swung the other way for Gran Colombia, in becoming ever more federal. Gran Colombia very quickly, had the separate tendencies take over, and just broke apart in these different polities that have become Colombia and part of Peru. And well, I mean, Peru was its own thing by then, but have really broken apart, and never to really get back to it. In fact, becoming quite bellicose towards each other at several points as well. But that's Gran Colombia for you. It's an absolutely fascinating. Now that's the part of it where it failed. But if you want to read about something like how it frigging worked, if you want to read about a cool character, and sort of winning against not all odds, but winning against being the underdog and still winning, it is that's read about Simon Bolivar, because he's a great general, but also just a very interesting character with a weird mix of enlightened ideas as well as some absolutely terrible ideas. But yeah, I mean, everybody had those in the 90s.
I mean, yeah, they did.
But it makes for an interesting, what you said makes for an interesting what if history. What would have happened if the United States had not become a union?
No, I think this is well, what would have happened then? They simply would not have become a union, and I think that they would have.
It would just be the Americas,
Yeah, I mean, it would be the states. We would know, and know a lot of these places just by. I'm sure they would have confederated around other.
I mean, there would have been some confederacies, but probably in the sense of.
Yeah.
I mean, to keep with their times, they would have probably turned into smaller nation states, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and then I mean, if you want to go for what if histories, then of course that would mean that
the entire world would be different.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just to start to think about U.S. itself, like they would never have been able to push west, or in fact do the Louisiana land deal with the French if they would have not been quite at that size.
There's a Heart of Iron mod about this. I think it's called Après le déluge, of course, and I think it's something about what if the French won some of the multiple wars they had with the English or something. So you have like a French-sponsored American kingdom, and then some other parts and some confederacies and some communists in there as well, I think.
I mean
that would be pretty cool.
I mean, the USA was basically a French-sponsored state.
Yeah,
I mean, they like to forget a bit. They like to underwrite. They like, yeah, the French helped us a bit, and then they also gave us the Statue of Liberty.
The French helped us so much they pulled us out of the revolution. But yeah, let's not talk about it too much.
Yeah. But the USA is. I mean, as a as a move, as a power move of France versus England. If you look, then the USA is more or less one of the most successful power moves by one
I mean, it was
colonial nation versus another one,
a
basically.
freaking big power move. It just
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
But do we want to build a hanging gardens? Yeah, we do, right?
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you have to formally apologize to Leyland now, Aris, but
No, Firaxis should get their shit together and
and
essentially,
and not allow people to build hanging gardens in Babylon.
Like when you click to build it in Babylon, it's like, no, you can't do this.
you
can't. It's illegal.
Talking about Firaxis needing to get their shit together.
Oh,
they had their shit. They had their shit. They had their shit together. Quite well in the late 90s, right?
Yeah, they did.
We're talking about these huge polities, and we're talking about these what if histories. But Firaxis, the development company behind Civ 6, well, mostly Civilization games and some other games,
which we don't know because they weren't as big hits.
No, exactly, but. It's kind of amazing that they made it through, if you think about it, because they were lucking out in not last week, because I think that we didn't. Did we talk about this last week?
No, we had Empire of Sin last week.
Yeah, exactly, Empire of Sin. Yeah, right. Sorry, the streams blend together. But so the last time we spoke about this, we heard about Sid Meier and some of his companions at Micropose seceding from Micropose, and they were lucky enough to get more or less all the code bases and every more or less the work that Sid had done and others had done as well with them, but they didn't get the franchises. They didn't get the IP. So, for example, they didn't have the development company, the person who lent his name to Civilization didn't own the rights to Civilization at a certain point. Of course, he still had the rights to his name, so it was still Sid Meier's whatever. But Firaxis couldn't make Civilization games.
Yeah,
and that's just one of the interesting things that is in this book, Sid Meier's Memoir. Right, and it's not necessarily the most interesting thing of these chapters, but it sort of stands out to me that they were. I mean, Sid Meier passes it off as not luck, but just sort of being very focused. But there's a bit of luck in there as well.
There's a huge chunk of luck.
He also said it was a bit of luck, right?
Yeah, no,
because
but
he said, like, against all odds, we were handed the opportunity to make Sid Meier Civilization 3 without even asking for it.
Yeah, exactly.
To me, it's sort of an admission of, yeah, we actually didn't really think about this, but then it kind of happened, so whatever. Also, which I found a little bit meh. Like, come on, you can't tell me you didn't think about this ever.
Well, you think? You think? I think he's honest there. I think he was probably like, yeah, that's the reality of it. We can't make Civilization games anymore. I mean, we can make Civilization-like games, but we cannot make Sid Meier's Civilization anymore, because the second part of that is literally an IP that is owned by somebody else. And it was useful for me to read how this all went down back then. I read up on it earlier, but for example, a Civilization Call to Power, I never fully understood that this was so this is a civilization in name, but it's just a very funky entry in well, not the series then, but in this sort of in this genre, that it looks like Civilization in so many ways. But that was something that was made by Activision together with Avalon Hill, this board game maker that owned owned not the rights to. Anyway, it's a very interesting. So basically, Civilization, the board game, was there in the 80s before Sid Meier's Civilization was there.
And he knew it.
And he knew of it. He didn't play it, and he said, "Yeah, it was just very different." I mean, I've read extensively into Sid the board game, and it's not that as different as he passes it off in these. I don't know if that has to do with any sort of IP business still hanging around here, but it couldn't be because more or less they bought up the whole franchise. But I honestly don't know why he's so. But so Bruce Shelley had worked at Avalon Hill, had knowledge of Civilization, the board game, and there are so many elements of Civilization board game that made it into Sid Meier's Civilization that he passes. What does he say at a certain point? Like it's just different. It's just a different thing. No, it isn't really a different thing. But
that's just it.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he would of course know precisely where it is. And there's this whole other discussion about stealing.
Yeah,
quote
that
unquote.
is.
So all in all, it's not a huge issue, but at least from a sort of a copyright issue, it definitely was back then. All right, so that's fun to sort of basically Avalon Hill had the publication rights to this board game, then came to an amicable agreement with Micropose that they would do cross-referencing of each other's product, and which to me already sounds like, hey, at least you're talking to the same audience, so these games can have that different.
Yeah.
And then, well, of course, then when Sid Meier starts Firaxis, they can't take that Civilization title with them. Avalon Hill makes a power move together with Activision against Micropose, who basically say like, okay, now we're gonna do Civilization, so because we own the title to the board game, so we can do this. Get into a lawsuit, and Micropose does the
power move double up.
The power move double up of basically straight up by original creator's idea that Avalon Hill was licensing. It's just such a messy affair. And
then eventually like going through Hasbro, because at that point.
Exactly, at that point they were like, so, and then Avalon Hill basically goes bankrupt. Hasbro buys Avalon Hill, as well as 8 days later he says Micropose.
Yeah.
And Hasbro's like, there's this one dude still, well, not one dude, but there's one of the veterans still hanging around from the early Micropose days, saying like, so that IP that we have, that more or less everybody in Gamertown knows, Civilization, it is really, everybody knows it as Sid Meier Civilization.
Yeah.
That guy is at Firaxis. So how about we do the smart thing and we just let them
let
do.
this go. As it says, like in 1 year they had the Civilization 2 Test of Time, which came out from Hasbro through Microprose. They also had Civilization Call to Power and Alpha Centauri, which was done by Firaxis.
Yeah.
And the Call to Power was done by Activision. And basically the two other games kind of tanked, particularly the Test of Time. Call to Power did not completely tank, but Test of Time kind of did. And so they're like, okay, Hasbro says, have it, Sid. Just take it.
Well, no, not have it. Hasbro says, you're gonna make it, and we're gonna reap the rewards out of this. Basically, we're gonna, you are allowed to make games with this license, and they got into this, not necessarily publishing deal, but in this deal in which
it
they
doesn't
would
say, because it says Hasbro could do license the name back to us and take their cut where they could. Like, but what does that mean exactly?
Well, that means that he's not, still not, or either able to or wanting to discuss the particulars of that deal.
Yeah, which I found a little bit not shady. I mean, I guess there's also
kind shady still.
I mean, maybe there are NDAs still that you cannot discuss, right?
But shady is like, if it's illegal. It's just not out in the open in that sense.
Yeah.
So it's not shady. It's just clearly there's stuff going on here that even in your memoirs you can't really disclose. But
I have to say, in the following paragraph, he talks about Bruce and making Age of Empires, which he describes as basically civilization in real time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Age of Empires is civilization in real time.
No.
I mean, just
we would have-
describing it as civilization in real time kind of, it's like
Doesn't do
tooting
justice
your
to
own
Age of
horn.
Empires as
Yeah,
well.
it's like tooting your own horn a little bit too much here.
I think I mean, the article you linked in I linked in the bulletin of Shack News about Age of Empires. I think Bruce there says, I mean, I of course he worked on Civ and he was like a big fan, but he also says like it's still a different game.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. What Bruce Shelley definitely did see, I think, was like this is clearly something that sells. Playing with history really sells.
Yeah.
And then there's also, I mean, in very general ways, they're the same. Like that you progress through the ages. You're not just playing some sort of set battles in time. No, you're progressing through the ages. So, but those things are so superficial that they're meaningless from a gameplay perspective.
Yeah.
Because
exactly, but that's why they're not the same game. That's why saying civilization in real time is it's like saying civilization is Age of Empires, just turn-based. No, it's not.
no,
I mean,
exactly. No,
I
I mean,
simply it's not.
yeah. No, but it's I understand. I mean, it's at a certain so the deeper layer here is these games, especially in the early 90s, but the games that are still with us today, we think that there's this huge diversity in games, but really they're built on such a small set of factors. There's resource management, and there's combat, and there's going through the ages, and there's exploring a map, and and that's exactly. But I mean, those are, if you think about it, they're really still of all the various things that you could do with history. They're still very limited, or it's just a limited set of playing with history. Yeah. So in that sense, yes, they're very much the same kind of thing. But within that limited set, it just the dynamics of it. So that's interesting from maybe from an aesthetics perspective, they kind of feel the same. Maybe from a mechanics perspective, there's some elements to share, but the dynamics of it is just completely different, right? The moment when you're playing this thing. So it's but what I do like is what he says straight after that, or we always say what he says, but I think we once again, not that we haven't done this yet, but we want to call out Jennifer Lee Noonan. I guess that's what she's called.
Yeah, that's what she's called.
Yeah. Because these are his words. These are his words, but she wrote it, and she wrote it in such a wonderful style, and so I like the fact. So, Age of Empires, basically civilization in real time, and it was wonderful. Rise of Nations, Age of Wonders, Europa Universalis, Imperialism, they're all fine. That is not shady, but it is throwing shade.
That's a bit of a stab, right? Like
they're all fine. It's like okay, sure, Sid. It's like a Steam review. It's like it's fine. It's okay. Yeah.
So
basically, go ahead.
What is okay is also the Balgum, or I don't know how you pronounce it.
Yes, Alex, take it away. Let's intersect this geeking out with some more geeking out.
To be completely honest with you, Balgum is not the kind of things I really know much about.
Alex, you were so excited about Babylon. What the hell is this, man?
You know nothing about it. Come on.
And I have plenty of things to say about Balgum, about Babylon, sorry. But for Balgum particularly, like, what can I say? It's not the kind of
All right.
thing that
I've
heard.
Encyclopedia crushed you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Palgum gives unique building to Babylon, +1 housing and +2 production. Freshwater tiles receive +1 food. City must be adjacent to river. Mesopotamia is a land with a complicated relationship with water. Between the dry desert and the flood-prone Tigris and Euphrates, the Babylonians had to learn how to control their rivers. And control them they did, even channeling the flow through Palgum, small-scale canals to feed elaborate gardens. While the Hanging Gardens of Babylon have not been as well documented as historians may have hoped at Nineveh, the Assyrian king Sennacherib built a luxurious garden fed by aqueducts and elaborate canals, often the same waterway at different points, cutting through mountains and rising over canyons, that allowed for exotic trees such as ebony and rosewood to grow within the palace. These canals were reinforced by great limestone blocks and controlled by specialized sluice gates. The king was proud of these. He inscribed, "Over deep cut ravines I spanned a bridge of white stone blocks. Those waters I caused to pass over upon it." The Yazidi ethnic group in Iraq kept up this tradition of building elaborate aqueducts and canals well into the 20th century.
I mean, basically, just canals.
Before you the canals, yeah, mostly the canals, but that's fine. Before you launch into a rant, Ares, let's give a shout out to Diogenes93.
Hello.
Yeah, we still don't have the trumpets installed in, but I'll do the trumpets for you. Thank you for joining us, sir. Oh, well, person, because I don't know if you're a sir, but I hope you don't mind, because it's just a general term of respect. Thanks for joining us, person. So Ares, this stuff was even at Nineveh. How come you don't know about it? Dr. Ares Ymir Politopoulos, who wrote your thesis about Nineveh. Why don't you know about the Palgum?
Why don't I know about everything Near East? I mean, I really don't know.
Why don't you know about this one thing that happened in the city that you wrote PT about?
Because it didn't happen.
Because there are plenty of names that they're using for canals.
Yeah, yeah. No, so I guess I guess the Palgum is particularly the sluice gates themselves, then, or is this the canals?
I really am not sure.
I think you can like see it here. It's not really visible. It's this thingy.
Yeah, right. So
I think it's the canal. Yeah.
Ares, you're getting congratulations, my friend.
Thank you.
From a man called Diogenes 93. Well, not called Diogenes 93, but
you never know. You mean
maybe you're also. Yeah. This internet anonymity is throwing me off.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put some money down that you're not called by law Diogenes 93. I think that would be that would be epic if you were, but
yeah. So Palgum is indeed a canal. It means canal.
Okay, so it is the canal that's called Palgum. All right, that's very
it's a word for canals.
So, do you want to see what this Babylonian Empire does? We just entered the Renaissance era in 925 BC.
Whoa!
Whoa! What?
Because we just built a lumber mill, and that boosts you into the medieval era or the Renaissance era because you get mass production.
What? How? Why?
So this actually breaks the game as we know it because we just have this tech even though we don't have the text before it.
Oh, so I was wondering about that. So you can even unlock the text.
Yeah.
If you don't have access to it.
Yeah.
So, I don't understand how this is happening though.
Well, I mean, these guys, man, this is meta. We're gonna go deep meta.
Very deep meta.
So, okay. What did they need to, like a workshop? What did they need to build for
whatchamacallit? A lumber mill, yeah.
A lumber mill. So, basically you've got these part-time astronomer scientists that had just been, during their day job, they were just hanging out in like making timber at the lumber mill for some Palgum. And at night they're like, Maybe there were some drugs involved. We'll never know.
Might be.
They were lying on top of their ziggurats, right, Ares? That's right. And they were just stargazing. And all of a sudden, one of them says like, "Whoa, dude, what if we do the thing that we just did like today, but then we did it just like en masse en masse, like a lot of it. And the other guy's like, whoa, that's so deep, man. And normally this happens all the time, right? We know that this happens all the time because it happened to us. Like we've invented all sorts of crazy shit already.
Yeah.
And not us, just as you and I and Omar, but like every humans invent crazy. The problem is we never really remember it. But in the somehow, either culturally, maybe genetically, something weird and funky happened in Babylon that allowed people to, to remember the crazy stuff that they thought up while basically stargazing on top of a ziggurat.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the mystical energies of the ziggurat, Aris.
Maybe that's what I should be writing about.
That's just what happened. They were basically just
high on ziggurats.
They were high.
Wow. Wow. Nice.
But that's it, man. That's how you progress in science.
In Babylon.
In Babylon. But yeah, it's crazy. I like it. I like it as a game mechanic.
I mean, like, it is crazy.
Man, we always talk about the fact that Civ is always about progressing from this point to the next, and you always know what's gonna happen. And this is breaking that mold. I like it.
Yeah.
This is breaking the mold in the same way as the one city model, sort of the many city model was broken by Venice in Civilization 5. It just breaks in a bit more random way. I'm not necessarily in love with how it's implemented. Because I don't like the Eureka so much. I think it's just annoying to play around it. But this is a really good reason to play around it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need the mod to play around it now.
Mm-hmm.
We also need to play around Gran Colombia.
So JA is writing proposal to fund a cigarette they can lie on. Hey man, let's do this together. Let's do this. An NWA proposal.
The thinking ziggurat.
The thinking ziggurat.
Nice. I'm all for. I'll build the plans.
Has to be like a Ziggur. I mean, this is also a startup. This is a startup company. Ziggur AI.
Wow.
Ziggur AI.
Ziggurat.
The ziggurat.
Ziggurat. The ziggurites. The ziggurites. Basically, we are the ziggurat is the artificial.
You are the AI.
Yeah, no, the ziggurat is the artificial thing.
Oh yeah.
And we are the intelligence.
Yeah.
I want to do this, man. Let's do this. If we would not be the talk of the town in NWO, I would definitely sit. The NWO is all about alpha plus beta cop. Exactly. Wouldn't it be so fucking? It would be nuts if we just send in this.
It actually gets through,
just
like
for shits and giggles.
Just for shits and giggles, we write about.
So, the budget. We need 300,000 euros for mud bricks. But it's raining in the Netherlands.
And we need another 50 euros for a proper whiskey or rum, and another 20 for a bag of weed. That's our budget.
Wow.
So okay. We also
talking about things that are in Babylon.
Sure, talking about things that are in Babylon. Okay, no weed in Babylon, but that's an innovation that we're making.
Yeah, we're getting there. So there is this text that this article that I had read quite a while ago, and I actually had prepared some of it for an expected question.
The 50 part seems doable. Yes, the 50 part seems doable. Yes,
for sure.
Okay, so okay, you had
I had. There's this article that I had read. Michael John had given it to me. Michael John Slaus had given it to me, like, I think in my first or second year of the PhD, it's from the book called The Legacy of Momigliano. Momigliano is a quite well-known Italian historian, and it has all sorts of articles in there. And one of them is called "Even a Dog in Babylon is Free," which I thought was an excellent title.
That's indeed an excellent title.
Yeah, and it's about it's from Amélie Court, and it talks about how we conceptualize shared power in ancient Mesopotamian cities, and how our views of like the kingship actually should be quite different on the ground, and that people, particularly of these larger cities, had a lot of shared power, and oftentimes they, as a city, like the identity of a city would be so strong that it would very easily override or overrule the will of conquering kings. So Momigliano had asked Amelie at some point of her to find that text that talks about Babylonians that says even a dog in Babylon is free. So she wrote an article about this and the concept of.
But there's actually a Babylonian text.
Yeah,
that says that.
So she found eventually that text, and I'm gonna read you what it says because I think it's extremely fascinating. But the concept is
sorry, just to make it absolutely clear. So there's a text written by ancient Babylonians.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Go for it.
And so it's a letter from Babylonians that was sent to Esarhaddon. Esarhaddon is a king of Assyria, and he was ruler of Babylon because the Assyrians had conquered Babylon at that point. So the Babylonians were kind of frustrated, and they wanted to showcase like their right to self-determination. So they write, when the kings, our lords, did their elementary studies, meaning even the primary school, right? So when the kings, our lords, did their elementary studies, the gods bestowed great wisdom and magnanimity on you. You learned the passage which says, Din Kurukura, Babylon is the bond of the lands. Whoever enters inside it, his privileged status is secured. Its very name is set up for protection. Not even a dog that enters inside it is killed. And that was their claim to the conquering king of Assyria, that he should not be revoking the right of self-determination from the Babylonians, because not even dogs are allowed to be killed inside Babylon.
Nice.
Talking about Babylon, what kind of religion would they have there?
I mean, they would have the Mesopotamian pantheon, but we have to go with Marduk, the god protector of Babylon.
I don't know if that's in there.
I don't think Marduk as a single deity would be in there, but I don't know actually.
Yeah, so these things aren't like they start off alphabetical, but then they drop the alphabetical.
Mess up, right?
Yeah.
Let me quickly see if Wiki cracks it. See if Marduk is in there. No, doesn't look like it.
No, I don't think it's probably. I mean, you can go for the Baha'ism.
Which one?
The Baha'ism, the Baha'i. They're in there. They're very much a new religion, but it's
Ashuraism.
There. No, up. Ashurism. Baha'i. The Baha'i. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's do that one. Oh,
the Baha'i.
Yeah. I mean, isn't there like a comprehensive list of all the religions somewhere?
Probably somewhere.
So because at least the Baha'i is Persian, right? But it's also very much a new religion.
Yeah.
So we're well ahead of our times, because this is a 20th century religion that some people have. I thought it was a 20th century, the Baha'i.
Let me check.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter hugely.
No, small difference. Established by Baha'u'llah in the 19th century.
Oh, okay. And honestly, I don't know anything about this faith tenets. I just know that it's a new faith that is in fact still growing. I mean, it's very very small compared to the major world religions, but it's one of those things that is still on the rise, particularly here in Europe as well. I'm looking here at the Wikipedia article. Baha'i was the fastest growing religion between 1910 and 2010. growing at least
Wow.
twice
Damn.
as fast as the population of almost every UN region.
Wow.
That's kind of crazy.
Nice.
Ah, damn. Shouldn't have
Oh,
done that.
the Baha'i faith is even the largest religious minority in Iran, Panama, and Belize.
What?
The second largest international religion in Bolivia, Zambia, and Papua New Guinea. What?
That's some funky countries.
Yes. The third
It-
largest international religion in Chad and Kenya.
It's literally like someone played Civ with this.
Yes, it is. Like, well, the
Just
classical
go.
era. The classical era ends. No, it doesn't end at all. So you were
No.
talking about conquering kings earlier, and so one of the things that stood out to me reading these 3 chapters was in particular the chapter where he was talking about his dinosaur game, and that is, well, it's not hilarious, man. It's a failed game, and a failed game is never hilarious, right?
I mean, sure, but it was
It's
also
kind of funny.
a funny chapter. It's written in a way that it's meant to be funny, I think.
Yeah, I guess it. But you can also read the real existential crisis in here, and the real. I'm sure that there was a real worry at that time. Like, man, I have to go talk to EA, not early access, but.
You had the same thing? Yeah, me had it. I had it as well.
Electronic Arts. I have to go talk to Electronic Arts about the fact that we're not going to do this. We're not going to make this game that we're already working on for 6-7 months. So one of the things that I do find amusing is that for some reason Sid Meier could not find the fun in dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how?
Like
but that's what he says as well. Like, how can I not do this?
And and it's clear to me from reading, and I think that's wonderful. I think that it's very open-minded to talk about failure in such a way. I think it's very important. And so what I think is absolutely crazy that he clearly still doesn't see how he could do it. Otherwise, I think he would have, he would have talked about it. And I think there's just so many ways that you could make dinosaurs fun. I think, for example, I don't know why he didn't consider the whole Jurassic Park model.
Yeah.
Like, he talks about what is like the first one is basically a civilization version, like Dino Civ. The second one is an Age of Empires like Civ, right? Oh no, the second one is an evolution. No,
let me go find actually the quotes. It was also funny how he was naming them, right?
Yeah, it's like Dinocraft.
The Dino Steam, the Dinocraft, which was like StarCraft.
The Dynamo.
Yeah, exactly.
And the Dino something else.
Yeah, the Dynamon.
The Dynamon.
After
exactly.
Pokemon.
Dynamon, yeah, like Pokemon.
Yeah, but actually that was Dino the Gathering. But there's another one. There's another one there. There's another one. Because that's really the second one was. In the end, though, the innovation just went there. Which was the second one now? The prototyping, the second prototype. So it was Dino Civ.
Mm-hmm. I think Dinocraft was the second one. No?
Yeah, Dinocraft was the and there was Dino Age.
Ah.
Dino Age, yeah.
Dino Age.
Do you want to hear something funny?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We just hit the industrial era in 300 BC.
Wow.
Whoa.
We are steaming ahead.
We're producing 10 science in turn. We have 20 technologies researched.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's kind of broken.
It's so weird.
Nah, it's not broken because it's I'm sure we will hit a speed bump at some point.
Oh, we certainly will.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point we have these technologies. We just can't do anything with them.
Well, we can.
I mean, you can build the units, you can build the buildings.
Yeah, but in terms of like resources and production. Like
we have a nitro mine already. I mean.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Chill.
It's basically now is the place where you need to like get your big advantage. You got to get all the all the eurekas because researching just takes ages. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. That's so. But anyway, what I was trying to say was that he can't find the fun in dinosaurs, and I think it would just be fun to try and see if we ever could find the fun in dinosaurs. There's just so many different ways that you could do this. I think. Um,
I think one of the reasons that he couldn't find the thing that I was thinking constantly when I was reading it is like it feels like you can't find the fun in dinosaurs because you try to do human things with dinosaurs.
Yeah, exactly. That's that's very nicely put, Alice. Yes, that's. I couldn't put my finger on it. I was going into all sorts of academic contortions, talking about in my head, talking about post-humanism, etc. But that's literally what I mean. You're trying to make dinosaurs do human things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which is.
Which you can't. I mean,
this came to me because in page 204. He says one of the big questions I couldn't answer was who is having the most fun in the dinosaur universe? And I'm like, no one has fun in the dinosaur universe. The dinosaurs are just chilling.
Actually, yeah, that is so cool.
They're all having fun. It's not like nobody has the most because you think of dinosaurs like there is a power structure. There is no power structure.
No, exactly. There's no meta. There's not that they're like. There's no intelligence there that is like, oh, let's frigging bump these genes together and we'll do something fun.
Yeah.
So clearly comes from a weird understanding of evolution that is.
No, but I think the following sentences sort of explain it very well to me.
Yes.
And
go for the sentence. Go for it. Do it.
The one sentence.
That's who he says, who is having the most fun in the dinosaur universe. That's who you want your player to be. The person with the most power, living the most exciting life. In the history of civilization, it's the king. On the Spanish Main, it's the captain of the pirate ship. In war, it's the general. In the transportation industry, it's the tycoon. But individual dinosaurs don't really have a lot of power. I know, that's such a
boom. And you know what? So one of the things that so I've really been looking in this book of places where sort of Sid Meier's philosophy of fun connects to Sid Meier's understanding of how the world works.
Yeah, and that's there.
That is, I mean, there's a lot of in here about how the world should work, like other work, like it's not fun to be violent, etc. Or I don't find it fun, but here it is clear that fun is connected to being powerful, which is of course it's kind of such a basic game design philosophy.
Yeah,
this is not Sid Meier's the unique insight, because more or less that's what a lot of game designers will say, like, you got to give the player the idea of that they're somehow powerful, and then they'll have fun. But it's such and that to me, that's where really also the societal.
There is nothing but
if you make a statement like this, then you it's quite literally political philosophy is really about this.
Yeah.
This is the heart of political philosophy. Like, and you just focus on the fun aspect of it, but you're basically saying, like, who is the most powerful through this history of civilization? The king. Yeah. And that is just I'm not whatever. It's not. I'm not saying like this is a wrong political philosophy. That's not really the point. But it's there. It's in these three sentences, and this to me was maybe the most exciting part of the book.
Yeah,
because
it unveils a lot, and it shows you like why civilization. I mean, we were talking before, like Age of Empires being civilization just in real time, but in Age of Empires you don't play as a person, as a king.
No, exactly. I mean, you could say that you're playing the general there, that you're having fun because
you're not you're not identified as a specific individual. But in civilization, you're always you're Hammurabi, you're Roosevelt, you're someone.
No, you're quite literally. If we want to extrapolate this, in civilization, or in each unique civilization, you're always playing the person that has the most had the most fun in that civilization, according to this philosophy.
Yeah.
So of all the people in Babylon and its empire, quote unquote,
Yeah.
Hammurabi was the
Was
person that has the most fun, right? And
Yeah.
that is and I absolutely love this because we've been thinking a lot about fun, right, Aris?
Yeah.
And it just shows me where
All apprentices.
it clicked for me because although I want to push a model of fun for looking at the past as well, it also shows me where it can go horribly off track.
Yeah.
Because then oh wow,
There we go.
how did you just do this because of the
Loyalty.
just the overwhelming amount of
People,
of cities? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was like, oh, maybe I need to declare war on them because that spot was
They're getting
kind of was like,
close.
but nah.
But no,
No,
we
I
can
think
do it with science.
you'll get Maracaibo too, I'm sure.
Hey, we have Durkuri
Maybe.
Gulch over there.
Yes, and Opis.
Durkuri
And
Gulch was
Borsippa and Malgium.
Durkuri Gulch was a newly founded capital for the Babylonian Empire during the Kassite period. And it was actually they tried to build it, a king called Kurigalchu, hence Durkurigalchu, the city of Kurigalchu. And they built a city, and they built the biggest ziggurat up to that point ever. But then they kind of ran dry on resources, so the city is basically this huge ziggurat and not much else. But if you go there now, the ziggurat is still there.
But it's a pretty ziggurat, so I mean.
And it's the highest preserved ziggurat in the Near East.
The question then is, did the king have fun building this ziggurat?
Maybe.
Probably he did. Probably he did.
Putting mud brick on
He
mud
was-
brick on
he
mud
was
brick. I mean,
Quite
No.
powerful. No, the king did not put any mud bricks.
No.
The king had fun
Of
looking at other people putting mud bricks.
Apparently. It's a yeah. I'm so tempted to talk about the inherent political philosophy here, but it's just gonna go off the rails because it is so stupefying to think of the idea that the king is the most powerful. It's just such an old school conservative idea of power. It's just
And also, it also contradicts his whole concept of I don't like violence. Like, if you're saying that the king or the captain or the general are the ones for having more fun, they are also the ones that have the legal right to violence. So you're basically saying that the person who has the right to
legal or de facto, like
the legal in their own within their own
within our own system. Yeah, sure.
system.
Yeah.
So they monopolize violence. So the people who can act violently and nobody will say anything because they have the power are the ones that are having fun. So violence is fun only when you get to do it, I guess.
Well, no. Violence is only fun when it is being perpetrated in your name.
Yeah.
Rather than you enacting it upon others.
Yeah.
By your own hand. That is quite literally and all of this. I mean, we've talked about this for so many times already. So I don't want to talk about it again because in the end you're sort of done talking about this. I mean, it definitely shit has come to light when you sort of connect those little dots. But I mean, I want to just leave it more as an interesting reflection on fun and where fun as a model of the world breaks down. Or where at least you'll need a lot of other supporting theories to start to understand fun in its entirety.
Yeah.
And not just for its own sake. But so maybe it's best to just leave it there because
let's not talk about it.
I mean, we can talk about the following stuff about the dinosaurs again, because I found it interesting that he says, he goes on to say about a little bit about evolution. That you have to take a step back into the role of dinosaur god, even to play around with it. But
Hmm.
then he says, what god would micromanage the daily feeding and fighting of specific animals? And then I was thinking of this. I'm like,
Few
wait,
inventions in
your
democracy.
games are literally a god, the player, micromanaging the feeding and fighting of specific animals.
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah. Not all of his games, to
No,
be
no,
very
but
fair,
when we're
but
talking civilization,
Civilization particularly, yeah, right?
yeah,
Or Gettysburg, right? It's also maybe not so much feeding part of it, but
yeah,
um, for sure that definitely goes into that as well. Yeah. So one of the things that I also really like is uh, well, I mean, there's so many things I like about these chapters, and I'm really liking the book, and I'm really liking the way that that this book says so much
mm,
by in such a toned down voice.
yeah.
So it never
Sounds like
becomes.
Grandpa
It,
Sid a bit.
sorry.
Sounds a bit like Grandpa Sid.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, exactly. It sounds a bit like Grandpa Sid, but at the same time, Grandpa Sid never really boasts. Right? It's not never like, and this is the way it all works, kids. No, it's like, you know, this is the way I think this works. So,
No, yeah.
and it's more like, and it's also, and Grandpa Sid is also talking to his kids, saying like, hey, this is where I really, things went wrong, and this is where it really got tough. This is not somebody who's like reflecting and saying like, and then I did this, and this was so clear. It's very even. It's very even
Yeah.
and I absolutely that's um such an accomplishment if you're that big a name, quite literally, in the gaming sphere, and also then just culturally, I would say, to be so reflective,
Yeah.
uh, and also open in a way that is not that is still, yeah, it's just it's a wonderful coming together of things, because he's open in a still in a closed way, because there's not all that much detail about him still. That's why I do love his reflection on him and Gettysburg, and that book, American History, Heritage Picture, History of the Civil War, that he gets on the plane to Switzerland, and Switzerland. The episode really is this, yeah, clearly this momentous event in his life, that just fuels into a lot of different things. But one of the momentous parts of this is browsing through on the way to Switzerland on the plane, browsing through American Heritage Picture, History of the Civil War,
Yeah.
and the U.S. Civil War of the 19th century, not the U.S. Civil War of the 2020s.
Yeah, which literally I googled Civil War and I got Civil War 2020. I'm like, Google what?
Let's not
I
do this. I mean,
Do you
okay.
know something that we don't?
I didn't look up for probably pretty long, Diogenes 93. So you could argue that in the case of heroes, Beowulf, Achilles, but perhaps also pirate captains, they are still the ones being violent and still, in his view, probably having the most fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, interesting. Beowulf having the most fun. Um,
Would you think that Beowulf had the most fun?
hmm. There's a lot of other people having more fun in life than Beowulf, even within the poem. He's a he's a he's a very disciplined kind of Geet. But yeah, I mean, and I say also Achilles, to me, doesn't have the most fun.
Oh, he's
So
insecure.
yeah, exactly. He's still the one who's considered the most worthy, and therefore reaching his goals in a way. Yeah, yeah, sure. That's true. He's most worthy. But one of the things that, if you want to follow the Sid Meier's school of political philosophy, Beowulf is never in the whole poem, except from a purely physical point of view, but not from a political point of view, is never the most powerful. Uh, Raymond never stopped talking about it.
I've read your paper several times. There you go.
Yes,
That's what happens
that's what
when you
happened.
write papers with Raymond.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. Um, but Beowulf never. He is not the most powerful in the poem, because the first two sections of it, he's more or less at the whim of two other kings, right? And he's in an underdog position, even if physically he's the most worthiest warrior there is. And then in the final part of the poem, um, maybe the rules, he is maybe politically the most powerful, although clearly there's also a lot of other stuff happening to the Geats that's not necessarily being discussed in the poem. But then he's the underdog when it comes to physical prowess, or at least quite matched by the dragon.
No.
So I think one of the interesting things about Beowulf is that as a hero, is that he's never the most powerful, or at least is always counteracted in his desires to just. He's not there's this. He's the final section. He's the king. Yes, he's the king, but there's clearly a lot of stuff going wrong for this king, and he's clearly as a king he's kind of powerless because there's this person in his kingdom raiding the dragon horde, and all of a sudden, as a king, the only thing that he can do is go to war with his dragon. Basically, he has no choice, and his whole comitatus, his whole band of brothers, abandons him. So even if he's the king, he doesn't have the political authority to just basically send a lot of warriors into battle. No, he has to go and do it himself. So that's what I would say to Beowulf or Achilles being the most powerful from the perspective that Sid Meier seems to be talking about power, right? And that is political power. But yeah, for sure, it's an interesting discussion. Talking about interesting, Omar, in your game studies classes, have you had the interesting decisions as a concept?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Doesn't really ring a bell. Let's say that. So probably not.
In the logic of Sid Meier, you would be the one having the most things to do. Having fun is difficult. Having fun is difficult. Yeah, it's a very good point. Yes, very good. He would be the one having the most things to do. Yeah, but so one of the things that is that Beowulf is he doesn't have a lot of interesting decisions. In fact, he has very few decisions because he more or less has his decisions made for him all the time. And then the interesting decision part is, of course, the part where I think he doesn't make this connection, Sid Meier himself, but I think the fact that games are fun, and are also interesting decisions, a series of interesting decisions for Sid Meier, also connects up to this fact that fun is having power. What do you think, Aris?
I don't know. I think it's I'm not sure if the logic is exactly like because the person having fun is the person having the most power, and then having fun means having a lot of interesting decisions. I think if we look at it from Sid Meier's way, it would not be Beowulf exactly that had the most fun. It would be if you would be playing Beowulf in a game, you would be having the most fun.
Yeah, for sure.
You see what I mean? Like it's the proxy aspect that makes it, and I think what happens here is that Sid confuses the fact that what you're playing is a proxy and extrapolates it to such a big degree that it just doesn't make sense anymore.
Okay, can you explain a bit more? What do you mean with as a proxy?
So he said before that when we were reading about difficult decisions in games, he said you don't want your decisions to be or your game to be like very heavy or super like emotional, because this is not that fun. You want players to have fun, right? So the decisions should be difficult, but not too difficult.
Too difficult, yeah, exactly.
Right? They need to be just interesting. So a way for the decisions to not be difficult is if they don't affect you personally. So
yeah,
A king.
If they're not upsetting to you on a visceral
Exactly.
level.
So Beowulf, for example, himself, he himself would not even be able to control his decisions often, or he would have extremely difficult decisions that would impact him or Achilles in this case. Because of his inability to control some decisions, he would be frustrated. But if you would be the one who plays Achilles, or if you are the one who reads about Beowulf, it's interesting to read about their decisions as interesting decisions because they don't affect you.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So that is the thing that sort of disconnects the argument here, because I think it's not by the logic of Sid Meier. Supposedly, kings for some reason or whatever, a general, a captain on a pirate ship has the most fun, but in reality, that captain has to put the lives of his crewmates at stake, and that is never fun.
No, that is now. Yeah, I mean, so there could be. It could be fun to a certain type of person, and that type of person
you narrow it down too much.
would be a sociopath, basically.
Yeah.
And that's when you're talking about sort of this distance that we have as gamers, it is a very sociopathic distance, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Not to say that all gamers are sociopaths or that there's some sort of psychological correlation there. Not at all, or that it leads to sociopathy. No, but particularly, as you're saying, that distance from the unfun nature of power is and that's I mean this is not just Sid Meier, because there's clearly a huge cultural, especially here, preoccupation with how fun it must be to be in charge, and in fact I think you have lots of leaders that have risen through the ranks on the simple belief that it will be much more fun to be in charge, and then when they're finally leaders, they're in fact very shitty leaders because they're just focused on their own fun.
Yeah.
And I think that every good leader will know that, in fact, if you're, and it doesn't matter if you're a CEO of a company or you may have a super good life in terms of material wealth or whatever, but you're probably not the one having the most fun. Maybe you take a lot of gratification from your work or whatever, but it's there's a lot of so, for example, you always hear a lot of professors say in academia that they had more fun when they were just a simple quote unquote researcher.
Yeah, or a PhD or a postdoc.
Or a PhD, exactly. That was the more fun part of it, just doing research. Now all of a sudden they have to do all that stuff that is, really the reason that, not the reason that they became professors for, but that's part of the leadership part of it, right?
Yeah.
That's not the fun part of it. And the reality of it, that most of them just want to have fun, do research, and therefore so many academics end up being absolutely shitty leaders because they're just focused on having their own fun and want to do as much of that as possible rather than being actual leaders.
Yeah.
There we go. Diogenes, I understand what you mean. In Sid Meier's logic, the stories of Beowulf and Achilles are not things we would want to experience ourselves, because it's basically choosing to suffer. The option to participate in a story until the moment it ends badly, and then we can let it slip away. And we step away safe and unharmed. Yeah, he wouldn't like that. Yes.
Yeah, but that's also what Sid says, right? You don't want your player to sort of unexpectedly fail.
No, exactly.
And if you are, the person with the most power, you can very much unexpectedly fail.
Yeah. And I think so there's this to me this is a very deeply cultural thing, because it is whoa, whoops.
Shit.
reload. But it's such a typical it's such a typical now thing to not want to suffer, right? And I'm not saying that it's nice to suffer or whatever there's any, but it's clearly that there's also a lot of games that do this well, right? The suffering part, and make it a different type of fun, not a fun that is about power, but a fun about that's about the visceral nature of feeling out of control.
I mean, amnesia, for example, is a
mean,
very good
there's-
case of being powerless and like making powerlessness fun in a way.
Absolutely. I think there's there's so many games, right? So there's um the one game we always talk about it is
This war of mine.
This War of Mine, exactly. Or Papers, Please is another good
Yeah.
example of it. Or even in a game like Flappy Bird,
Yeah.
Which isn't fun.
well, whatever fun there is in this mostly powerless aspect of not being able to control this freaking bird very well.
Or even stuff like Firewoods, right?
Survival games, yes, Dionys. Yes,
Green
absolutely.
Hell.
That's Green Hell, like super
Oh my
fun.
God.
We had so much fun.
Yeah,
That's
and you know what? Even in Minecraft, a good. In fact, if you think about Minecraft survival,
Yeah.
I mean, there's this other part of Minecraft that's very fun, and it's just the creative mode. It's just making things. That's the fun part of Minecraft, and that's probably a better complete segue. We may talk about this later, but that's probably a better counter to interesting decisions. Is that Minecraft is not necessarily about interesting decisions. It's about just making stuff that is fun. But the survival part of Minecraft, I at least have the most fun when I'm suffering the most still in that game. I don't know. How's that with you, Omar? Have you played lots of survival, Minecraft survival?
Yeah, but also get kind of bored of it quite quickly.
That's the thing. As soon as you sort of solved it, right? And you have your base in order, and you're kind of like, okay, now it's more or less becomes
Now it's a
creative.
big simulator with restrictions.
Yeah, it becomes creative mode with restrictions, basically.
Yeah.
But the real fun of it is like, oh, the Don't Starve, the Long Dark, absolutely. Another game with dinosaurs that is really fun. God, what is it now? I really lost all my thingies. What is the dinosaur game?
I know.
Dinosaur game?
No, yeah, exactly, the survival dinosaur game. Dinosaur game, survival. Survival. It is. God, what is it now? It is. No, I don't want a new Jurassic Survival Island. No, not the Isle. Come on, I've played this so much. Ark. There we go. Ark Evolved. Thank you. Yes. Ark Evolved. Same thing, right? It's there they have some fun with dinosaurs, particularly because you feel quite powerless against them in the beginning. So yeah, it's a very interesting. It's not a wrong philosophy of game design or either of society or of power, but it's limited.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's so nice to read this book and these chapters in particular. He had to do a lot of groundwork in the first chapters, and I didn't really feel like he was doing groundwork. But but now it's there. I feel now it's like, oh, yeah.
This is the real Sid talking now.
No, not this. I think all of it is the real Sid, as much as you can get it in a Ghost Written memoir. But that's not a dig. It's just it's the realness. It's just always a reflection of something. But
The pen might not be mine.
Clearly he's more at ease in these. Probably I don't know what the process of this was like, but more stuff is clicking here in these chapters rather than in the first ones when he's talking about. Well, maybe it was because he wasn't having the most fun.
Aha!
Because Wild Bill Steely was clearly having the most fun at Micropose.
Yeah, clearly.
with his airplane and his whatever the F will do and conservative bullshit.
And there's another part that I really liked, and I think it's sort of, I think also in the presentations that we're doing, it's something that now I would like to change a little bit. In page 198, where he talks about the fan mail and how people play Civilization.
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah.
And then he says this story about this kid who his mom was playing Civilization till very late in the night, and there was a fire, and just because she was awake playing Civilization, she managed to save everybody. And he says there, my favorite part about that story, aside from the hooray nobody died aspect, was that it was the mom, not the dad, who was playing. Gaming is for everyone, and not just on an individual level, but as a whole. It's for everyone together. And I think that part, because we also have this section, oftentimes when we give our talks about everybody and their mom playing games, quite literally. I think this is the most, like this, the fact that games is for everyone together is kind of captures everything. And then he, in the following paragraph, says, when escapism is done right, it creates a community of escapees that never existed before. The only alternative would be to knowingly create something less powerful, to deliberately dial back that human connection out of fear. That's madness. We're stronger together, and the more universal and effective our games are, the more knowledge, empathy, and ambition we can inspire. And I found this paragraph extremely inspiring. That actually, that how he also sees that games is about togetherness.
Yeah, and I think also, by the way, yeah, to the last discussion that we had, Diogenes just made a very nice point. Meier's view is relatively unique in this, in the hero, the power view, but it's celebrated nonetheless within games at least. So maybe within games it's not so unique, but the togetherness of this aspect is super nice. And also when it's in the same sort of vein, this part is part of the chapter as well, when he sees gaming as this historical moment, and he even already, and it's not that I've never considered it, but it's nice to hear someone like Sid Meier thinking beyond games. And he, clearly doesn't know what is beyond games. It's the new medium, right? But he comes up with something like psychogels, which is, I honestly don't know what that would even
What are you talking
be.
about?
Yes, but because psychogel seems like a substance to me and not like a medium, but whatever. But it's really nice to see him put everything so neatly into. If you're a media scholars person, I mean, many media scholars have problems with this still. Like in simply saying like, yeah, okay, it's nice that film was once again this rogue thing that people said, oh, this is horrible, the devil's work, and now it's kind of the bee's knees to study, and it's this pinnacle of culture. But really, games are like a bunch of bullshit, and clearly that's you still have film scholars like saying that, or other sorts of people that study culture. It doesn't really matter that. And he just bases it so nicely in a couple of paragraphs, really, in a historical framework. I think it's quite brilliant for sure. Absolutely quite brilliant to say like, yeah, this is just where games are at the moment. And then he has this idea about, my grandkids, the youth of my grandkids will have all these. They were like, yeah, go play some video games instead of doing these psychogels. Oh, you should read his book, Diogenes. You will absolutely love it. Yes, I think you will. If you remotely enjoyed parts of Raymond Corbij's class, you will also like and remotely enjoy games, which is probably why you're here. Then you will love this book as well, because there's a lot of wisdom through experience, but also wisdom through sheer brain in here. It's a really nice book. What is because you're doing all the playing, Omar?
Yeah,
we're doing all the talking.
You were just talking. I was like, I'll just continue.
So, what were your favorite parts of these chapters? All right, Jay. See you. Bye. See you later, Jay. Bye.
Bye, Jay. He made some very historical points, and they were like, I got flashbacks to my thesis, of course. I think somewhere he said like that he sees history as progress. I was like, but I did enjoy reading that because it was fun.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, he just doubled. I'm gonna say you are gonna be in, as I already had a little look ahead. You're gonna be in for a lot of fun for the next chapters. You are gonna. I will say that I was interestingly, I was feeling directly addressed. So that is, you will probably feel the same thing. And I think that chapter 21, that we will read for next time as well, opens up some new parts to this discussion that we've had as a super minor cultural force, as a bunch of academics and students playing games and thinking and talking about the past. And this major cultural force that is Sid Meier. It's opening this thing. So that's chapter 21 for you for next week. But that being said, should we wrap it up?
You must not lose
Yeah, we
faith
could.
in human.
I mean, we've played 184 turns, so I mean,
That's pretty okay.
we're doing pretty good.
These oh yeah, I think we're doing very good.
We have some coal here, which is good. We have
next time we should prepare to discuss Eleanor of Aquitaine a little bit, as well as the funky little leader that is not little leader, but the funky leader that is, what's her name again?
Amanitore.
Amanitore, yes, of the Nubian Empire. So Ares, who do you want to take? Do you want to take Amanitore, or do you want to take Eleanor of Aquitaine to do some reading up on?
I don't know. You pick. I don't mind.
Eleanor of Aquitaine for me then.
Okay.
It's somebody that I want to read a bit more about anyway. So
right.
not that I'm not interested in Amanitore, but you know, that would be me. That would be my choice.
Okay.
All right. It's been fun. It's been real, people.
It's
been very real. Even with the OBS struggles, I mean, it's all worked fine after we fixed it. It all worked fine. I mean,
that's the interesting decision part of it. That is the part where OBS struggles, and there's this little bit of hurt, and then we're in control. We're the kings. We're the kings of the stream.
But we had fun, so I mean,
we definitely had fun.
We definitely had fun. Yeah. Fun on Twitch, fun with Twitch. I'm sure there's this whole world to be gained when you're studying something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we didn't even really get to talk that much about interesting decisions.
So no,
I made some interesting decisions, but just
were handled by the controller, the person with the most power over the game.
Yeah, for sure. But the only thing that I still want to say about interesting decisions is I thought it was so very interesting that Sid Meier even doesn't even know what the exact term is, where it came from.
Yeah, that was kind of fun to read.
And you often wonder, like, how can it be that quotes get misattributed, and like there's this whole thing that this thing that everybody says and nobody really knows, and this is how it happens. Just people say stuff and people don't remember. But we will definitely always remember Herr Professor Doctors. What was it again? We have to remember this now.
Yeah, there.
Oh, I had to reload my chat, so I've lost it.
No worries. All programming languages are awful, just in different ways. That's one to.
That's a quote to live by. Yeah.
That's
one to remember.
Yeah, exactly. All fun is awful, just in different ways. No, wait. all power is awful, just in different ways. I'm sure that you can just make this work
for everything.
Go check Faroe Islands on Google Maps that we talked about in the beginning. See what a weird patch of photographs it is.
Sure, we've covered a bunch of random as things in this stream.
For sure. Yeah.
from Beowulf. Oh, Beowulf and the Faroe Islands are kind of close together. Hey, Diogenes, you have a nice evening too. Thanks for calling in. Well, not calling in, but hanging out with us and amusing us with this conceptual debate about power and heroism and fun. It was fun.
It was fun.
Very much fun. So I think we'll be back on Tuesday, right? But what are we playing on Tuesday again?
Something fun.
Sumerians, right or not? Am I wrong?
No, isn't that next Thursday?
But now we're doing. We'll see. again, as usual. We'll see.
I mean, I don't really mind, but we'll
I
see.
see still. Things. We will be
Things.
playing
We'll
fun
We'll be
things.
playing a game, probably.
Yes.
We'll be playing a game. All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.